A ship named Genesis docks in New Orleans, carrying a number of containers filled with mysterious cargo to be distributed throughout the city. Several dealers, including Newt, gather and are presented with a pill called Power, which gives people a unique ability for 5 minutes. The distributor, also known as Biggie, gives the pills to the dealers for free. 6 weeks later, Robin sneaks out of her home to sell Power to 2 boys on the street, but a third boy comes out of nowhere, and they try to overpower her to steal the pill. A fight ensues as Robin tries to defend herself, but in the middle of the struggle, they're interrupted by police officer Frank Shaver, who makes them stop by pointing his gun at them. One of the boys, who does not have experience with the drug, hesitates to take it while Frank explains the pros and cons of having superpowers. Frank quickly grabs it before the boy can ingest it, letting him and his friends go because he only has 1 pair of handcuffs. He arrests Robin but releases her later. They already know each other. He buys Power from her and even gives her an old motorbike as a birthday present. The next day, Art visits an apartment in the slums to look for Newt, who points a gun at him from behind the door and refuses to open it when Art claims he is a friend of Simon's, sent there to talk business. While Newt takes a phone call to verify this, Art uses a trick to open the lock. He makes his way inside and, while silently moving through the apartment with a shotgun in hand, discovers an alligator in one of the rooms. Moving further into the apartment, he finds Newt rummaging through his stash in search of the phone. Newt has become incredibly disfigured due to his addiction to the strange drug. When Newt tries to grab his gun, Art shoots it away. Newt runs to hide in another room and consumes Power to activate his ability, which causes his whole body to ignite in flames. While this happens, Art takes Newt's phone. During an unsuccessful attack that ignites a fire in the room, Newt begins to pursue Art throughout the apartment building. Art jumps onto a lower floor while Newt feels his body weaken. He takes 3 more doses of Power and rushes after Art. However, one of his neighbors interrupts him by pouring water on him. Art uses this opportunity and rushes to the bathroom to soak his jacket with water. When Newt catches up with him, Art covers him with the wet jacket and pushes him into a filled bathtub. At first, Newt refuses to talk, so Art starts punching him until he confesses he got the pills from Biggie. Suddenly, Newt's body starts shaking, so Art runs away right before Newt explodes. This causes him to have flashbacks of a car accident he was in with his daughter. Meanwhile, Robin checks on her sick mother, Irene, before going to school. They watch the news, which reports on the previous incident. Robin and Irene worry for Newt, who is also Robin's cousin. While in class, Robin texts Newt to ask if he's okay, but Art, using Newt's phone, responds instead. She also asks about the drug and if they can meet. Suddenly, the teacher calls her out for not paying attention and asks her how she expects to have a future if she fails the class. At school, Robin's friend encourages her to show off her rapping skills and starts creating a beat for her to freestyle to. Feeling nervous, Robin begins rapping about the system and her teacher. Her classmates record the performance and cheer her on. However, it is later revealed that this was all just a daydream in Robin's imagination. The teacher then asks her to surrender her phone or go to the principal's office, and she chooses to leave. Later, the police surround a bank where a criminal has taken hostages using a mysterious power. Frank takes over a co-worker's spot, and when he is alone, he ingests the drug and starts a timer on his watch. He enters the bank through the back door and locates the hostages. However, he is unaware that the robber possesses the ability to camouflage and is moving undetected nearby. The guy hits Frank to knock him down and then runs away with the money, so Frank immediately starts chasing him by following the bags. As his skin continuously changes color, the robber runs and hits a few civilians before stealing a bicycle. A car crashes against him, so he drops the bike and boards a tram instead. When he checks the bag, a powder bomb explodes and gives away his location so Frank can follow him on the bicycle. Frank catches up with the driver, who stops when he sees Frank's badge. However, the robber manages to escape again, running through a cafe before Frank catches up with him and slams him through a glass window and into an alley. During the struggle, Frank's gun slides along the ground, and the robber picks it up and shoots Frank in the head with it. However, Frank's power saves him and the bullet bounces off, stunning Frank for a few seconds, but he quickly recovers. He grabs the robber and beats him up with his improved strength until his captain makes him stop. After everything is over, the captain scolds Frank for using power and asks for his gun and badge. Frank points out that criminals have an advantage over them if they have superpowers, so this is the only way to fight fairly. Higher-ups also often arrive to cover up the situation, so Frank guesses that the captain knows more than he says and offers to work off the record. The captain gives Frank a picture of Art and tells him he's believed to be the source of power, so they need to catch him to end their problems. That evening, Art waits in the restaurant where Robin usually meets Newt. When Robin arrives, he watches her from afar but doesn't approach her. Not seeing Newt, Robin decides to leave, only to find her motorbike tires slashed. While pushing her motorbike across the street, Robin is suddenly grabbed by Art, who throws her into the trunk of his truck. He then drives her to a secluded area, threatening to go after Irene if she doesn't talk. Robin agrees to cooperate and is let out, telling him she got power from Newt but doesn't know anything else. Art shows her a picture of a woman and a bald man with a beard, but she doesn't recognize either of them. While they talk, Robin texts Frank asking for help, which Art immediately notices and takes her phone away. Art instructs Robin to call a number he found on Newt's phone and pretend to be a dealer in trouble. She is then directed to go to a Hong Kong supermarket and ask for alligator wine. When they arrive at the market, Robin asks for the wine while Art gets distracted by a random customer and loses track of her. Robin is taken to meet a man named Guello in the back, but instead of asking him about the source of power, as Art told her, she tells Guello about Art, calling him the Major. Guello takes power and confronts Art, who threatens Guello with the scissors he found in the market. His henchmen immediately arrive to help him, but Art is an excellent fighter and goes hand-to-hand against everyone without breaking a sweat. At the same time, the office Robin is waiting in starts moving, revealing a room inside a huge truck trying to leave. She tries to go, but the truck's door has been locked. Art continues to fight, but as he disarms a man holding a gun, some of the bullets hit the truck, almost hitting Robin. Once all the henchmen are down, Art tries checking on Robin, allowing Guello to shoot him by surprise. The bullet hits Art, but he still manages to shoot Guello to death. Finally, Art opens the door to rescue Robin. However, the pain causes him to start hallucinating and think Robin is his lost daughter, Tracy. Thankfully, Robin's voice snaps him out of it, and he notices another door and shoots it open to discover a secret computer room with monitors that track all of Power's users. Art realizes that the distributor is giving away power for free because he's using the locals as lab rats to test the product. They also find a notification mentioning a presentation in around 2 hours. While Art is distracted by the screen, Robin seizes the opportunity to run away. Meanwhile, Guello's body expels the bullets, thanks to the lingering effects of power. Eventually, Robin makes her way back to the market to seek help, only to be discovered and hit with a frying pan by Guello. Just as he is about to stab her, Art tackles him to the ground and repeatedly stabs him until the effects of power wear off and Guello dies. Robin tries to escape and finds the doors locked, so she grabs a brick to break them. However, Art begs for help and confesses that he just wants to find his daughter. He offers Robin a bunch of money before passing out. Moments later, Art wakes up in a veterinary clinic, where Robin stitches his wounds. Robin has access because Irene works there. Frank becomes worried about Robin and decides to check up on her at her home. Upon arrival, he overhears someone claiming to be the police, harassing Irene. To come to her defense, Frank sneaks into the house through the window and takes off his clothes to pretend to be Irene's lover. He whispers to her that Robin sent him before confronting the cops and asks them to show their badges and a warrant for the camera. The cops immediately leave, so Frank runs after them and attaches a phone to their vehicle using tape, allowing him to track them down. At the clinic, Art asks Robin about her power, but Robin is afraid to take it because of its dangerous consequences. She needs the money to afford surgery for Irene, so Art suggests she can go into the army. Robin expresses her interest in rapping, so he gives her a few words to freestyle, including feline, seismograph, and antibiotic, impressing Art. After they're done, they leave the clinic to find the man in the picture. In the car, Robin asks if he is the person that kidnapped Tracy. Art explains to Robin that he used to be a soldier and was experimented on for power by a corporation called Telios. He took power once and it almost killed him, but he survived, unlike his army friends. Eventually, he quit and started a new life, but when Tracy was born, she had permanent powers because the component was already in Art's system. When Telios heard about this, they wanted to take Tracy away to experiment on her. A flashback shows Art trying to run away with her. Unfortunately, they were followed, and the henchmen forced their car to crash in a field. Art gets stuck and cannot move, so he has to watch as Tracy gets kidnapped. As he shares the story, his memory mixes with reality, but fortunately, Robin snaps him out of it. Eventually, they make it to the location, and Art makes Robin wait outside. When Art tries to enter, a security guard stops him since he is not on the list. To get past the guard, Art distracts him and knocks him out. While searching the guard's belongings, Art finds a Telios card. Art takes the guard's jacket and sneaks into the presentation, where Biggie presents power to a South American cartel leader. He explains that his goal is to reach the next evolutionary step. They've taken the DNA from different animals to gather the best survival skills so humans can have them. Biggie hopes that with his guest's investment, one day, they can create a permanent version of power. Meanwhile, outside, Frank finds Robin and tries to convince her that Art is the source of power. She refuses to believe him, arguing that he did bad things but may not be truly bad. She tells him that Art is just trying to find Tracy. Meanwhile, Biggie orders a woman to get inside a tank and take power. Her skin slowly turns into ice, revealing her ability to lower her body temperature. While Biggie and the others are distracted by her abilities, Art silently approaches a bodyguard and kills him. Art approaches Biggie with a gun hidden under a tray, but Biggie recognizes his face. Art tries to threaten him, but at that moment, an employee finds the body and screams, so he grabs him as hostage instead. Multiple security guards take out their weapons, and Art threatens to kill Biggie, but the cartel lady doesn't care and tries to leave with a case of power. More of Biggie's men come in to stop the lady, and one of them takes a dose of power, which explodes immediately. This triggers a gunfight between Biggie's and the lady's men, causing both sides to quickly lose people as Art joins the fight. Two bodyguards manage to cover the cartel lady to help her escape while Biggie tries to run to safety, dropping his tablet in the process. This causes the tank to fail, and the woman loses control of her power. She screams in pain while her boyfriend tries kicking the tank to break it, to no avail. Art beats the guy up while Biggie keeps avoiding him, and eventually, the frost takes over the woman's body, slowly freezing every inch of her until she's dead. Art grabs Biggie and shakes him as he demands answers, only to be hit by an employee, sparking a hand-to-hand fight. After pounding her head on the tank, Art uses her own taser to knock her out, then goes after Biggie again. Art shows Biggie a picture and asks who they are and where to find them, but Biggie acts like he doesn't know. Angry, Art shoots his fingers off. Finally, Biggie reveals a boat called Genesis which carries the whole operation. Art then asks about his daughter, Tracy, only to be interrupted when Frank enters and tries to arrest him. However, Art quickly disarms him. As they argue, Biggie takes a dose of power and transforms into a giant monster that hits the ceiling and causes the whole building to shake. Bullets do nothing to him, so Art runs away, and Frank catches up to him by sliding under Biggie. The duo takes a back corridor, and as they run, Art opens gas canisters while Frank steals some power. When they make it to the exit, Art shoots the gas canisters and causes a big explosion that kills Biggie and sends a shockwave to the street before Biggie's hand lands on a car. Afterward, Frank arrests Art, and when Robin tries to defend him, Art just tells her to go home. While Robin gets on her bike, she sees Wallace among the cops and recognizes him from Art's picture, so she decides to follow him. Meanwhile, Art tries to convince Frank that he is trying to find his daughter, but Frank thinks he's a drug dealer. Art tells Frank that in a few seconds, his captain will instruct him to take him somewhere else instead of the precinct. His prediction comes true, and Frank realizes his captain is part of Telio's bribed men in the force. Frank finally hears Art out and learns his daughter has been the sample they used to make power, which will spread to the rest of the world if they don't stop it. They agree to work together and make a plan in front of a train stop. A van full of Telio's individuals is waiting on the other side. Frank is already gone by the time Telio's men surround the car. Art is taken to the Genesis boat to meet with Gardner, who was the one to experiment on him during his army days. Robin is watching nearby, and Frank is furious to see her when he arrives. After a pointless argument, Frank gives her an earbud so she can keep guard and inform him of anything happening in the area. Frank takes a dose of power and approaches a guard, quoting Clint Eastwood movie lines in an attempt to convince the man to open the gate. The guard does but quickly shoots Frank, knocking him down. Frank quickly recovers but loses the earbud that connects him to Robin as he sneaks inside, knocking out a nearby security guard. Meanwhile, a handcuffed Art is escorted onto the ship, facing Gardner again. She explains how Tracy will be helpful to humanity. Robin, worried about the lost connection, decides to sneak in. She picks up Frank's missing earbud and hides inside a van loaded onto the ship. Meanwhile, Gardner orders some bodyguards to take Art below and kill him. Robin leaves the van and searches around the ship, finding Frank cuffing a bunch of unconscious workers in the control room. On the monitors, the guys escorting Art ask for the door to be opened, so Robin switches a lever to let them in. They realize there's a map of the ship and full access to all the doors there, so Frank takes a gun, and Robin hands him his earbud back before Frank orders her to guide him as he goes to save Art. As he leaves, the alarms go off and Robin closes the heavy door for safety. Wallace takes power and punch the doors down by force. While looking at the monitors, Robin finds Tracy and tries to tell Frank, but the earbud keeps cutting off. Frank gets distracted, so another powered guard sneaks up on him, quickly disarming Frank. A hand-to-hand fight begins, but Frank can't cause any damage because the man is made of rubber. Robin speaks to Frank through the speakers, but her location is revealed to Wallace, who then starts breaking down her door. Frank eventually manages to knock out the guard and free himself. He drags the rubber man toward a nearby door and traps his arm when Robin closes the door. Meanwhile, Wallace finally breaks down Robin's door, only to find out that she has already escaped through the emergency hatch after breaking the computer with an axe. As the ship takes off, Frank takes more power before picking up his gun and continuing his search. Meanwhile, Art reveals he's had a power dose in his mouth all along and convinces the guard to let him go to avoid the consequences of his powers. At that moment, Wallace walks in, and just as they're about to fight, Frank sneaks up behind Wallace, pointing a shotgun at him. Wallace punches Frank back against a fence. Frank quickly passes his gun to Art, who shoots Wallace twice, killing him. After searching the lab area, Robin hears a guard approaching. She hides and waits for the right moment to knock him out from behind. She successfully takes his keycard and finally gains access to the lab rooms. There, she finds Tracy and notices the wound on her neck from the experiments she has undergone. Initially wary of Robin, Tracy shows happiness and relief upon learning that her dad is there to rescue her. Suddenly, they hear a knock. Gardner is coming to check on Tracy, but the girls manage to hide under a hatch just in time. When they leave, the girls search for a way out. Soon, they make it to the deck and reunite with Frank and Art, who finally hugs his daughter again. The group tries to find their way out among a maze of containers, but suddenly, they are attacked by a guard with the power to make his bones grow out as weapons. A fight ensues. Frank tries to take the girls to the lifeboat and uses his body as a shield against the incoming bullets, but Robin sees Art in danger and goes back to help him. She frees a crane hook to knock out the guard, and then Art kills him by using his bone weapon against him. Afterward, Art rushes to the lifeboat to reunite with the others. However, the guards catch Robin. Gardner then demands Tracy in exchange for Robin's life. Art intervenes and takes power, which grants him the ability of a pistol shrimp. He can now vaporize the water around him and shoot extremely hot shock waves that can kill all the guards in just a few seconds. Robin jumps out of the way just in time as Art tears apart everything around him. Eventually, a crane falls on top of Gardner. Art loses consciousness due to the overwhelming power that is about to kill him, but Tracy quickly arrives at his aid and uses her powers to heal him. The group then boards a lifeboat and finally escapes. Sometime later, Art informs Frank that he's leaving with Tracy to start a new life. Frank plans to bring the story to a journalist so he can reveal all the corruption in the force. Meanwhile, Robin returns to her mother to take care of her with the money Art has given her as thanks. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.